All right, fifth grade, today we are going to be doing the paper mache part of our project, at least the first layer. So what you're going to get back today is your sculpture that you made last week, and you are going to be getting a small cup of the paper mache glue and a piece of butcher paper. Now what you are going to need to do first is rip your butcher paper up so it's thin strips. If I'm thinking about where this butcher paper needs to go, I can think about how wide it needs to be. So when I hold this up here, this one's a little bit too wide. This one looks just about right. So you need them to be pretty small, okay? And I just make a little pile so that I can grab them as I need them. You are gonna be applying that butcher paper with a little bit of paper mache glue so that it starts to make a solid form out of your sculpture that you made last week. Our goal is to kind of hide some of that tape that we made so it looks solid. Okay? Our last step to this will be painting. So if you're thinking, I don't want to have a blue ice cream cone, that's okay because we are going to paint these at the end. All right, now this project can be awfully messy, so you need to follow the directions that I'm giving you, and please use the paper mache glue and the paper the way that I'm asking. So what I'm going to have you do is not stick the paper in the glue. You are going to stick your fingers in the glue and apply it to the paper. Notice how I'm kind of grabbing the paper like this, like it's a scissors almost, and sliding it down, and I'm trying to work over my cup so that any glue that's dripping off is going mostly into my cup. Notice that I'm going to push off to the side my extra strips so that they don't get all gluey before I'm ready. The whole thing needs to be evenly coated. If it's dripping with paper mache glue, that's too much, all right? Just a little bit is quite enough, but the whole thing does need to be covered. All right, that looks pretty good. I am going to apply that to my bottom. I'm going to work from bottom to top for today. And I'm kind of starting with that outcropping, that indent, so that I know I've kind of got that down and I can build it up from there. Now, just like when we are applying our tape, the texture is pretty important. So I'm going to kind of work to smooth things down flat as I go. And I've already got a little bit of paper mache glue on my hands. And I'm going to fold in that bottom part so I've got that little step there. When I think about an ice cream cone, okay, those ice cream cones have that there, that texture. Smoothing out any wrinkles, making sure it's good and attached. Notice I'm not applying any more glue to this, I'm just using the stuff that's already on my hand. All right, that looks pretty good. Oops, I found a little bubble there. Smooth that out. Notice how I'm holding it up off the table so that I can rotate it around and see from all angles. When you're working with a form, it's important to look at the front, the back, the sides as you're working. All right, my next strip, picked it up off my little pile, add a little glue to my hands, and slide down. Making sure it's evenly coated, not dripping. Apply it to the bottom. You are only going to do 1 or 2 layers with this first layer of butcher paper. We will have some time to do more later, but we want to first get this first layer down. Okay, smoothing it out so it doesn't have too much texture. There's always probably going to be a little bit. Cool. I'm ready to kind of think about those ice cream scoops on top. All right, once your form is covered with that first layer, you might see some little spots and you might be able to touch those up, but don't worry about them too much. I see another little cup spot there because we're going to do a second layer over the top of this with another color so that it's really nice and solid. Okay, remember, it's got to be able to stand on its own, so if for some reason it's not, we've got to fix it now. When it's finished, it needs to go back to the basket at the drive-thru.